feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. Build a seed with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go,
Hi guys.
go, 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 go.
Hi guys. So definitely tonight we want to talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about the shame, blame, and explain industry. That's going to be the key thing. But not only that, we're going to also dabble a bit in this Andrew Tate stuff. I think we might start Andrew Tate stuff. People like what's most popular, what's going on, and then I'll delve into the shame, blame, and explain. So, guys, just relax. We're going to go through this today. I hope you guys are having a good holiday season. Before you know it, it will be over. I mean, if you come what is it, next Tuesday or Wednesday, I mean, all of us will be back into the regular post-Christmas, post-holiday season. So, I plan to enjoy this weekend, spend some time with you guys too. Of course, spend time with the family and stuff. But I wanted to go over a little bit with this Andrew Tate stuff and then move into the shame, blame, and explain industry, which I think is a waste of time. So let's jump into Andrew Tate. Like, this has been in the news all day long. And, it was shown that he and his brother were arrested in Romania. And this is stemming from some alleged, and guys, I use the word alleged, human trafficking stuff. So, this is a case that he has had for some time. And Andrew runs this, it's of course, it's called Hustler University. And he definitely sells this type of lifestyle. You can see the Rolls Royce, all of that stuff. And he's kind of telling guys, I have made it, how can, you can make it too. But one of the things I wanted to do before I get into that is also kind of share with you a bit on what it's been alleged that he's involved in, right? So the UK Mirror did a story on him, right? And this Mirror said, brothers make millions using webcam girls to sell sob stories to desperate men. Carlos, Tristan, and Andrew Tate run a studio where punters hand over thousands, believing that they're in relationships with the girls, and admit it is all a scam, but authorities cannot stop them. Now, I don't think that this is directly what they're being arrested for. I mean, this was printed in July 29th, June 29th, 2022. But what it is, these are the women, along with the Mercedes Benz, the Bugatti, all of that. These are the women that are used to sell the courses. The courses are, I understand, $50, and it tries to help young men and a lot of teenagers how to become rich like Andrew. Because one of the things is, as we said, this is what's being sold, right? What's being sold is, if you take these courses, you can, one day have, all these lovely ladies and a jet. You can walk into this lovely jet. Guys, I've lived to my mid-40s and I've never been in a jet. Probably I should take this course. I'm not sure. Anyhow, and then, all this stuff in Dubai, by swimming pools and, lovely women and all of that stuff. And that. And guys, please, I have at the bottom, simp, squares, and snitches are winning. And the reason why I have it there is, in this red pill movement, it's not being truthful that the true people who have power in this world are the simp, squares, and snitches. Because Andrew Tate was arrested by these three folks, right? These three sets of folks, right? And right now he, I think he'll be let out because I think these guys can make bail. But one of the key things is, what is he selling? And one of the things that I looked at and I found very fascinating about this was, these guys knew how to, if this is true, knew how to get all these beautiful women to kind of get these men with fake sob stories and all of that stuff. And these men would hand over a lot of money. Now, some of these guys handed over like a whole lot of money, right? And that, because it says that one man handed over 20,000 pounds of his inheritance, while others have run up huge debts. And this is simply because, just imagine, if you're a man and, this beautiful woman is on here crying and saying, she needs to buy food or something or that. And, she's telling you she loves you, you're a nice, sweet man. One day she may be able to come over and be with you, or you come over there and be with her. I mean, for lonely men, this is just a way how to make money. And, this is an industry that happens. And what's kind of strange about this, why Andrew Tate, and also we'll get into Brittany Renner, became popular was because Just Pearly Things had them on for an interview. And, this was recent. And, as we said about Andrew Tate, this is what he sells. He sells this type of lifestyle that, young men think that they can have, by getting out of the matrix. And that's a big thing that he talks a lot about, is the matrix. And the important thing is, I don't know what they mean by the matrix. Probably the matrix is just the regular world. And he tries to tell people that he made it some way great. And if you do what he tells you in his $50 course, you can become a millionaire too. But as we said, what the Mirror is saying, that he makes a lot of money from selling having webcam girls, tell sad men desperate stories, and they send over a lot of money. And as we saw, $20,000. Now let's move on from this, because as we said, this will be before the courts, and we'll find out what's happening. It's all going on in Romania, and who knows how this is going to turn out, right? That's not most important thing to me. So let's move on to shame, blame, and explain. Now, the key person with shame, blame, and explain happens to be this week Brittany Renner. And one of the key things is, the first time I came across Brittany Renner, it was once Kevin Samuels, the late Kevin Samuels, had her on, and I understood this was to help to rehabilitate her reputation among other people. So, the story is that she basically had a child with a basketball player. I think his name is PJ Washington. And everyone was kind of saying, because she was 26, PJ was 20, there was some issue with that. So she started to do that type of stuff with Kevin Samuels. And ever since, the manosphere has fallen in love with, getting people to put her in her place. So, they had her on they had her on DJ Academic's show, and then Myron came on, and he was supposed to tell her the red pill and tell her how life is. And also, later she went on to Pearly Things, and then Andrew Tate, who's currently arrested today, was supposed to put her in her place and tell her things. One of the things that I don't understand with the shame, blame, and explain industry is, why would you focus on Brittany Renner? And, I started to think about it a lot. And what I came up with is that Brittany Renner is a lot like what a lot of the men in the manosphere would dream of having as a wife. And basically, they're upset that she is, what they consider fattening it up on Instagram. She should be someone's wife. And also, one of the big things that I've learned with this content, it's supposed to humble women. And I've been trying to find out, why wouldn't we focus on improving ourselves? Why are we focusing on humbling women? And when I thought about it, it was quite obvious to me. Improving yourself, going to the gym, learning a skill, getting a qualification, all of that stuff, getting a certification, going to work, working hard, working late, all of that stuff, that's hard work. But sitting online and saying that this woman should be embarrassed of herself, and she should get some guy who earns 60,000 or 40,000 a year, and hopefully, it's almost like a Hail Mary. A lot of folks are hoping that one day she'll figure out that she needs a guy who earns $40,000 a year, and go and marry him. And the truth of the matter is, Brittany Renner is in high demand, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, if you go to her Instagram page, I think she has over 2 million followers on Instagram. And I believe that she has also her personal pages that are there. I mean, I've I don't follow her on Instagram, but I actually did go and look at Reddit, and I saw a lot of stuff there. And one thing I saw, was this, that Brittany Renner knows that a lot of men lust after her. And she knows that. And nothing in the manosphere can say can change that. Because the fact of the matter is, and where I wanted to get in this conversation, is that the manosphere, us as men, we need to understand women have a monopoly on providing us with children and company and all of that stuff. And that's the fact. That's the fact in life. And the way how life was always made, and when I was growing up, I wasn't red pilled by anyone. My fathers took me aside and said, Pookie, one day you're going to get older, and what you're going to need to do is get a job, provide for your family. And that's going to be one of the most important things. And he also said to me, listen, you're going to have arguments in life. I saw him have arguments with my own mother, and you're going to have to learn to give and take, right? And that's just life. That's just life, And people call this new thing, people call how we have built the world as simpery, like you're simp. If you're just basically doing your job, taking care of your children, sometimes, yes, you have to acquiesce and you have to say, okay, for a peaceful life, let's move on from this discussion. And that's nothing wrong with that. But we are not going to get far by trying to shame, a Brittany Renner or anyone. We have to focus a lot on improving ourselves. And if we don't improve ourselves, what's going to happen is year by year is going to pass by, and we're going to be stuck in the same place. And I saw some comments in my comment section, and I really tried to address them. Some of the comments said things like, we should both improve ourselves and also try to hold women accountable. And I don't know how you're going to hold any woman accountable. I mean, I'm married, and it's difficult to even hold my wife accountable. Listen, the only person you can hold accountable is yourself. And I hope that a lot of guys figure that out, right? I mean, in life, even me, I said it in the comment section, I'm not guaranteed that I'll be married forever. And I have accepted that. What I will do is work hard to keep my marriage going, all of that stuff. But a marriage is two people. And what is important is that wherever I go, I provide value. And that's, I think, the most important thing. If you can provide value in life, then you have won. And I think a lot of guys think that by sitting online and saying, this woman should do this and she should wear a longer skirt, she should do that, that doesn't help anyone. And a lot of people are not seeing that this is just a waste of time. And years ago, the first entrance into this space is strange, very strange, very strange. But I must confess it, the first time I ever entered in this space was Tommy Sotomayor. And when I listened to him, I was just astounded at what he was saying online. And after listening to a few minutes of it, it was too much. I couldn't handle it because it didn't sound productive. And then, after listening to him, I stopped listening to the space. And funny enough, I listened to, on the woman's side, Chrissy, Chrissy, who always talks about colorism and that. And that was interesting to hear. It was interesting to hear the other side and hear how women felt about, the current system. That was interesting, very interesting. It felt kind of black pill because part of it sounded a bit like there was no hope and anything like that, but it was interesting. And then, of course, I started listening to other, folks in the space. And then I came across, during the pandemic, Kevin Samuels. And to be honest with you, I found that very overbearing. I mean, I understood what he was saying and all of that stuff, but I would probably watch a clip, but I couldn't watch all of it. And after a while, what I did notice was it was like a constant gender war between the women and the BWE and the men on the manosphere and all of that stuff. And it was a waste of time. Honestly, it was a true waste of time. But I think what happened was during the pandemic, a lot of us had a lot of time on our hands. And because, a lot of us were social distancing, some of us were in lockdown. So we had a lot of time in our hands. So that happened. But since everything has opened up, I doubt people are even focusing on this stuff anymore. Because this stuff is honestly, it's gotten boring. To me, it's gotten boring. Seeing every day, people online talking about, black men ain't this or black women ain't this. That's just boring to me. It's really boring to me. What I find myself doing more of now is getting more into understanding, in the Twitter spaces, more of because they have a lot of nice stuff. Like you'd have people talking about crypto or stocks or that. I don't invest in crypto at all, but it's interesting. I'm just trying to learn. But I'm over there in the Twitter spaces, listening to a lot of stuff, because what I noticed with those folks in the Twitter spaces, they're trying to figure out how to earn extra money. Now, you know, some of them are focused on, a lot of them are focused on Tesla stock. It's so strange, but anyhow, and a lot of them are, some of them are focused on crypto. But what's important is, they're trying to figure out how to get that bag. And I don't fault them. As I said, I will never invest in crypto because I don't see the value of it. But I respect that they're trying to do that. A lot of those folks may lose money in the short run, but you know what? They're going to move from that to something else. But sitting down every day talking about, what women should do or what men should do is a waste of time, because, well, it's entertainment. And you know what? I've learned this and I thought it through today. If it's entertainment to people, keep digesting it if it's entertainment. But for me, I find it a waste of time. And what I'm more interested in is listening to people like, and there's someone I want to drop a plug, Man of Tomorrow. I listen to Man of Tomorrow a lot because he speaks about productivity. That's something that I am so interested in. Think about it. You have people thinking about how can we make more money. And I can tell you guys, once you make more money, you have more choices. And it's just so simple. It's so simple that, and you don't need to go to anyone to tell you that. It's simple. And I'm not telling you anything new that you don't know already. And so for me, what I try to focus on nowadays is, I'm growing this channel because one of the things I want to do with this channel is reach out to folks that are in the middle. The folks on either side, the folks that believe that all men are bad, or some set of men are bad, and there's some that all women are bad. That's like those guys. To me, they have problems, right? They can go and do what they want to do. But there's folks in the middle who just want to figure out, how to gain skills, how to interact with each other, all of that stuff, how to bounce ideas off of each other. That's where I am. So, as I said, I am 100% blue pill. I will never feel, try to get into the comfortable bosom of victimhood, right? I'm not going to be here to tell anyone that it's not your fault, it's someone else's fault, right? One of my, people always talk about Karl Marx. He declared that religion was the opiate of the people. And what I would say is that shame, blame, and explain is the opiate of the manosphere, because somehow in the manosphere, people think that, the more you can shame, blame, and explain, it will help women to figure out that they need, men who earn $40,000. But a lot of it is content creators, just wanting money, and they know it. They have their analytics. They know if they do something on, getting your certification as an auto mechanic or something like that, that no one will listen to it. Like, it's hardly anyone listening to it. But as long as they put a title modern woman and talk about some nonsense that some woman has done, you get the views, you get the cash apps, you get all of that. And it's like a recurring circle. It's an opiate. And one of the things I want to tell anyone, if the same content you're listening to for the last 5 years, hasn't changed, and your situation hasn't changed, then all you're doing is entertain yourself. And as I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but just there. Another thing I wanted to talk also about, was, the whole point of, some folks are trying to keep it real and they're trying to keep face. When I was growing up years ago, we used to have this thing called keeping it real. And, it was a big thing in the Black community and all of that stuff. And, it was Dave Chappelle who came up with the whole thing when keeping it real goes wrong. And one of the things is trying to be cool and trying to, tell people that, you have made it and all of that stuff is nonsense. I think the fact of the matter is a lot of us as men need to just be honest with ourselves and say, listen, some relationships will last, some won't. The relationships are very important. But to me, even more important than any relationship is making sure that you have a good career. Because honestly, relationships can come, relationships can go, but you have to provide for yourself. And you'll never escape doing that as a man. And that's the important thing that we need to focus on. And as I said, I will leave it to some people want to be entertained by people that tell them, let's go chat about what women are up to and all of that stuff. I mean, if that's what you want to do, I mean, sometimes I watch, shows, I like to watch the show The Office over and over and over. So that's wasting time. So, but you must understand that you're doing the same thing. You're wasting time trying to get someone else to change. One of the hardest things to do is change yourself. And that's something that we'll all figure out as life goes on. The hardest thing to do is change yourself. And just imagine, if you cannot change yourself, how the hell can you change someone else? Just think about it for a while. I mean, if I say to myself, I want to lose 50 pounds or 40 pounds, like that would be hell for me to go out there and try to do it. I mean, people who do it actually show people and get millions of views because it's difficult to change yourself. And we all know this. When I was younger and I said, I was married at that time, and I said, I need to earn more money. I need to go back to school. That was a hard 2.5 years, very hard 2.5 years. I won't joke with anyone. My wife and I, we moved back into my parents' house. That was humbling. We're living on our own for a while, and we just could not do it. I could not go back to school and, support a family. So we had to move back there. And when we did that, one of the things was we got a springboard, and I was able to do my exams and all of that stuff. And I think it was within 3 years, I was back strong on my feet doing something great. But it took 2.5 years. And it took the fact that we're having a child that got me to say, you got to get yourself going. And that was difficult. So think about it. If it's that difficult to change yourself and to change your situation, how the hell can you sit and ask someone to change their situation? They're going to need motivation. They're going to need different things to get that done. So what I consider shame, blame, and explain, this whole industry, the shame, blame, and explain industry, it's just entertainment. That's all it is. It's entertainment. It's a place where us men can get together and talk bad about women. People do it all the time. I mean, you have WhatsApp groups that people, sit down and chat all sorts of nonsense. But what is the results? Where are the results coming from? And the biggest result I've ever heard is when someone says, I am going to make that change in my own life. That's always the biggest result. And I can tell you that takes a lot. It takes a lot to do that. And, I was looking at this, and one of the things I always look at is look at the type of men that we have around us, right? You have, and I put them in the order of how I think they provide value, right? I put them in that order. You have gangbangers and street dudes, right? Those guys provide the least amount of value to society and women and their family, because those guys are going to end up in prison, right? Then I put them even below homeless dudes, because the beauty of homeless dudes is that they're not really bothering anyone. But gangbangers and street dudes, and let's be careful with the word street dudes. People who are in crime. Let me careful with the street dudes. People who are in crime. They cause problems in society. Then you have homeless dudes. Yeah, those dudes, for whatever reason, some of it is mental illness, some of it is addiction, but they're there. Then you have low skill guys, who can't hold down a job. One of the important things with these folks is that these are the guys that need to get those skills, right? But the problem is that I would go with number 4, the ones who are skilled but hardworking. Those guys are always going to make it, because those guys are always trying to figure out how to improve their lives. Then you have the certified technicians and all of those type of people. And that's where I think a lot of people should be aiming as men to be, right there. And then you have office, white collar. And the truth of the matter is, office white collar and certified technicians, I think right now they're earning about the same. And I'd even throw in truck drivers in there. I think they're earning about the same. Then you have these high value men. But the thing with high value men is that's a very small percentage of the population. And that's kind of what, Andrew Tate was trying to sell to people, how to be a high value man. And this is very elusive, because this is very difficult for people to actually reach there, right? And so that's why for me, I like to focus on just simply being productive. And that's going to be my key. And I'm going to say to you guys, I'm not into the shame, blame, and explain, industry. And I hope I've explained my position with that. My goal in life is to provide for my family and have my the next generation, do better than me. That's it. And as I tell you, when you're married for years and that, it doesn't guarantee that you'll be married beyond that. But what it does tell you is you have a chance to grow together. And sometimes you'll have arguments, sometimes you'll have disagreements. And as men, you're going to have to figure out, how to conduct yourself in that. And those are important things. But, sitting online and talking about the modern woman and how things are going bad with women, all that stuff, I'm not sure who that's helping. Because right now, as I've seen, it's one of the failed industries. For 10 years, I listened to this old thing way back when it was, I think it was 2009, and it was some woman, and I should play that video one day. It was some time way back in the 2009, and it was a woman on in the BWE, before it was the BWE, arguing up with Sergeant Willie Pete. And I said to myself, if you can go back that far to this discussion on weaves and short skirts and all of this stuff and that, and nothing has really changed, what's that, 13 years later? What's the progress? And a matter of fact, a lot of people tell you it's gotten worse, because the truth of the matter is we do not control women. And we need to figure that out. And we have a hard time controlling ourselves and our emotion. And that's something that we're going to have to focus on. And so, anyone, on my channel, all of that's, this is what I will focus on. I'll focus on this to, self-improvement, all of that stuff. And of course, have fun, because one of the things is you'll see I do a lot of videos on Diddy. A lot of people may wonder why I'm doing a lot of videos on Diddy. Am I a fanboy or something like that? And one of the things I do videos on Diddy is because while morally he may not have the high morals of everyone, because he has a lot of women, but what Diddy teaches you is that once you have clout and you have wealth, you can achieve a lot and you have options. And that's what we call the type of man that charts his own course. He is our own type of Elon Musk or something like that, right? And that's what I try to say to people, that is something that maybe we can't get there. Maybe it's our children, maybe it's our grandchildren, but we have to start doing the building now, the building of the foundation to get there. And that's going to be important. We cannot, as I said, it's enjoyment to listen to someone talk for hours about women and the state of modern women. Or even I've heard people talk about, what's that thing called, the Moynihan report. Like, people are going back as far as I think it's a 1967 or something like that report. Like, that's how regressive all of this discussion is. In this modern world, I think what the focus should be on is you. And I should focus on myself to improve myself. And I'm thinking about what skills I want to get in 2023, because that's it. Keep my skills sharp, keep all of this stuff going, because, many people will tell you that AI is out there. There's a lot of technological advancements there. It's not just going to get rid of jobs. It's going to change the type of people that are working, because, someone may be working a call center today, but the AI would mean that the AI can do the call center work. But it doesn't mean that everyone in the call center will be out of a job. What it does mean is that they'll require people to program the stuff, to maintain it. That's where the change in skills will happen. And a lot of us will have to become nimble and flexible to get ready for this challenging economy, because the economy is always changing. And that's something that is forever. The economy is always changing. I always used to talk about, when I was going to school, they talked about, sometimes people used to use, they call it a buggy whip, the horse whip, and that would be, they'd have a horse buggy and they'll do the whip. And people would make buggy whips. And that guy went out of business because you got the motor car. And they had to have a whole different change in skill sets to take care of motor cars. And today, the type of industries are requiring different skills. So for me, that's why I know people might say, having a university degree is not it. But I can tell you one thing a university degree teaches you to do is it teaches you how to learn, and that's all it is. And it makes you a little more flexible. Now, I'm not here to sell people on getting university degrees, right? That's not what I'm doing here. Because as I said to you, certified technicians today earn about as much as office workers, or even more sometimes. So I'm not here to sell that. But what I'm here to say is we should be focusing on improving our skills. And that should be the biggest focus. Our focus should not be on women and how they should be behaving and all that stuff. That is a grand waste of time. So thank you guys. I just wanted to cover this. And for anyone that wants to have a discussion on this, free to come in the comment section and discuss this. But as I said, my number one takeaway here is it's difficult for you to change yourself. So don't try to change other people online who don't know you. That's a waste of time. Thanks, guys.